This is Next Steps for Seniors with your host, Wendy Jones. Each week, Wendy brings resources and information to help guide you through those next steps with elderly parents and loved ones. You can follow, subscribe, and share on your favorite podcast platform. If you have questions or topic suggestions for Wendy, you can call us at 248-651-5010 or email at hello@nextstepsforseniors.com.
Hello and welcome to Next Steps for Seniors, Conversations on Aging. I'm your host, Wendy Jones, and each and every week our program really is designed to share information and give you resources for the future you. Because not all of us like to talk about this stuff, but we need to because everybody gets older. And as we age, things start happening. And did you know 70% of people need some kind of care as they age? And yep, I know you don't want to talk about it, but that's what we're going to do today because our guest in the studio is Mr. Brian Kurtz. Drum roll, please. How are you, Brian?
Good morning, Wendy. Thanks for having me.
Brian Kurtz actually just retired from his program Money Matters at the Patriot Detroit. So we are very blessed to have him in the studio today. And number one, I just want to say congratulations because your show ran for how many years was it?
It was a little over 25 years.
25 years from AIP Financial. And this is a money guy. This guy knows everything there is to know about money. And that's why you're with us today. So congratulations on your program. That's incredible.
Thank you. It started in 1999 when Ike Engelbaum, who I know you know also, he was doing his show on the little WPON over in Bloomfield there. And I was a guest on his show a few times, and he said, you should have your own show. And
you sound just like him when you said that.
He sounds like Billy Crystal in Mr. Saturday Night. He's a famous movie star. But so I started doing that, and that was in 99. And yeah, this year, I'm not disenchanted with the radio. I'm certainly not retiring or going out of business or anything. But it's just, the best way to put it, Wendy, is it worked. I have a lot of clients I need to take good care of. Still accepting new clients, but being a little more selective about it because I want to be able to maintain the level of service that we've been able to provide for our clients for so many years. And
you do such a great job.
Well,
your passion, your desire. And here's why, because as we age, and this is what people don't understand, and this is why I love talking about money. This is why I love having you as a guest, because what people don't understand is as we age, you retire with a certain nest egg, let's call it, right? And you get so much every month for pension and Social Security and whatever. But as we age, we use all that money, right? We're retired, we're having fun, we're traveling, we're doing all this great stuff. And then all of a sudden, you're 88 years old, like this little guy that walked into my office last week. And you're like, my wife needs care. How do I pay for that? And I was like, what? And he's like, well, I ran out of money.
Yeah.
And it happens.
That's people's biggest fear is running out of money. And we can do a good job over at AIP Financial. And I've never been naive enough to think I'm the only one that's good at this, right? You can use a good financial advisor. You can plan. You can do all these things. A lot of people take what they have saved and put away in their head. They do this, Wendy, and whatever it may add up to, 500,000, 600,000, a million, whatever, divide it by the number of years they expect to live, and they figure that's it. Well, we're supposed to do better than that. We're supposed to make money on your money and make it last. But still, with the rising costs of health care and the way health care costs are rising at a rate far above normal inflation, it really does get difficult for a lot of people to pay for the care they need. And God forbid a husband and a wife both need care in separate places or at separate times. It can get really expensive, and it's something that you definitely need to plan for.
Well, and the average assisted living, just so everyone is aware, is really between $5,500 and $7,500 a month per person. That's a lot of money. And the average person lives 2 years in an assisted living. Mm-hmm. Why? Because we're waiting so long before we move into a place like that. And that's only if you can't live at home. Of course, we all want to live at home as long as we possibly can. So what advice, Brian, with your financial background and all the knowledge you have, would you say to our listeners as they're retiring, because you said they do this in their head, right? They need an expert. They need someone like you that does this on paper.
Well, how do we bring up this topic? Let me go back to when we first sit down for a consultation with a new prospect, I'll say. Someone that has heard me on the radio or got referred to me, or somebody has a friend that works with me or whatever. So we sit down and we take an inventory and we ask a bunch of nosy questions about, what you have and what you're earning, what you're contributing, maybe if you're still working. And then we go down that inventory from what I call the 4 cornerstones of financial and estate planning: probate, income, taxes, long-term care. Not necessarily in order of importance, but we cover all of those. How do you keep your estate, your assets from going through probate when you're gone? That's fairly simple. You need some documentation, but we can do that. Income, that's the more fun part, right? How can we create an income? What sort of income would you like to have in retirement? I think a lot of people, to digress for a second, I think a lot of people come to a financial advisor expecting to be told what they can and can't do. I've always approached it from the opposite side. What sort of income would you like? What would you want to have? And let's see how we can create that. And not only that, where do you draw it from and when? And then you start doing that, at the appropriated time. But we've got to address long-term care. And you don't need to necessarily go out and buy a traditional long-term care insurance policy. People are kind of shying away from that now because
they're nervous. You know why? Because they're afraid they're never going to use it.
Well, they think of it as a nursing home policy, and nobody wants to think about that, right? I consider them to be anti-nursing home policies. Right. I've said this before. I don't want a nursing home. I want I want the nurse to come to me, and I want to pick the nurse.
Exactly.
So if you have, it's like shopping for a car, Wendy. The more money you have in your car fund or your house fund or whatever, the more choices you will have, the more options you will have. So there are a number of ways to set aside money for pennies on the dollar that you can use to pay for your care if you should happen to need it. And as you said, more than 70% of us do at some point. But if you don't need it, if we die at age 99 in our sleep with full possession of our mental faculties like everybody wants to, then that money can be passed on tax-free in many cases to your kids. So it's a win-win.
And for sure, because people are thinking, and this is a cute saying. My mom just ran into a lady on the plane, and she said, "Oh, I'm skiing." And she goes, "Skiing?" And she goes, "Yeah, spending my kids' income." Spending all the money now that they think they're going to get. But yeah, I mean, this is your life. You want to live it, but you do want to leave something, some type of legacy for the next generation.
Yeah, spending your kids' income. That's great. That's about as close to actual snow skiing as I will probably ever get.
I thought it was adorable. So when you talk about these plans, and you're right, the traditional long-term care plans, they are in long-term care insurance, they are walking away from. But there is a plan that you've told me about numerous times with the death benefits. Can you explain that to our listeners? Because I think it's a fantastic. I know we only got 3 minutes in the rest of the segment. I can begin anyway.
The insurance industry tries to be, believe it or not, tries to be responsive to the needs of its customers, and develop products that can solve the problems that they are having and do so in a tax efficient manner. They do try to do that. It's, when they can do that, it's a win-win for everybody because people will buy it. So some years ago, there started being what we call hybrid policies. These are life insurance policies where it can either be single premium. That's usually the case. It's usually you don't want to do it on a monthly basis, but you can. Equitrust Life Insurance Company, for example, has a contract called Wealth Max, and it's a single premium life insurance policy. I have a number of people that come in and say, "Hey, I have $100,000 I want to put into an annuity because I heard I can get 5.5%," which is true. You can. But if you already have 6 or 7 of those, and you're just moving them around, maybe you want to consider something like this, where you drop $100,000 in, you're guaranteed to be able to get the premium back if you want it. It's not you might have a surrender charge on the interest or whatever, but after 3 years, they'll return the premium to you. And the death benefit is tax-free, as all life insurance death benefits are. That's a benefit the IRS has not pulled back from yet. But if you need to, you can use portions of the death benefit in pieces over a period of 24 months, 50 months. Some policies are structured differently, 2% a month, 4% a month, whatever it may be, to pay or help defray those costs of your care in assisted living or in-home health care. That's very important. If a contract doesn't cover in-home health care, you don't want it, because as you said, everybody wants to stay home and it's not always possible. Your business is a testimony to that, but you want to have the option. And that way, if you don't need it and you don't use it, your kids get money tax-free. It's a great inheritance. That would not have been the case in an annuity. If you do need it, you've got tax-free money that's also tax-free because it's a prepayment of death benefit on life insurance. So it's really not, it's very hard to lose in that situation.
I mean, it's just
a
truly
win-win,
a win.
and it's very easy to qualify for, too. A couple of medical questions. If you don't have active cancer or like that, you're probably going to get it.
So we're going to give your number. Get your pen and paper ready because we want you to contact Brian because I highly recommend this, and he's the man to go to.
We have a 248 number, 248-312-2652. The toll-free number is 866-AIP-MONEY, 866-247-6663. And you can reach me at extension 2632.
And we'll give you that number again after the break. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Wendy Jones, host of Next Steps for Seniors Conversations on Aging podcast. Did you know that over 25 million Americans experience bladder leaks? Incontinence can happen to anyone at any time, and when it does, incontinence products are a necessity. But it can cost hundreds of dollars per month to purchase these products, which is why we're partnering with Airflow Urology to help you. Airflow Urology provides medical-grade incontinence care essentials like adult briefs, male guards, catheters, and more for free through your insurance. With Airflow, your favorite bladder control supplies are sent right to your doorstep with discreet monthly deliveries. Customers have reported close to $200 a month in savings with Airflow Urology, and over 2 million people have trusted Airflow. You can verify your insurance benefits by going on and filling out a quick 2-minute form. Check your eligibility. Visit airflowurology.com. That's AEROFLOW urology.com.
Welcome back to Next Steps for Seniors, Conversations on Aging. Our topic today is all about money. Yep, I said it. It's all about money. Money makes the world go round. But guess what? It's not everything. Your health, your happiness, so many more things are important. But today our topic is all about money because we have Brian Kurtz from AIP Financial. And I'm going to give you Brian's number one more time so you can write that down because he's fantastic.
Toll free, 866-247-6663. And if you want me direct, I'm at extension 2632.
There you have it. And there you have it. So we were just talking about an amazing product, which I think is fantastic, this ADB rider. Accelerated death benefit. See, I'm almost a financial planner. So my question to you, Brian, is there a certain amount of time that you have once you activate it that you need to utilize the funds from?
The ADB rider, you're starting to learn the lingo. That's good. We'll get you licensed yet.
Listen.
But the accelerated death benefit rider, once you activate it, you generally have to be, if you're looking to pay for care, you generally have to be receiving care for 90 days first. That's what they call the elimination period. Then your benefits kick in. After that, there is really not a prescribed time by which you have to use all the benefits. The question is, will you be around long enough to use them?
Right.
Like, I'll give you a good example, and this is important if I've got a couple minutes to...
Absolutely. This is why you're here.
...paint this picture, is that a lot of people have term life insurance policies that they bought in their 30s maybe, and it's going to run out. It's a 20-year term, it's a 30-year term, and term life insurance for young people is absolutely the way to go because it's less expensive. You can get what you need to cover. That's when you have fewer assets and more liabilities, and so you need more insurance. As you get older, you may or may not need that much, but policies are by and large convertible. And I don't think enough agents talk to their clients about this. What I mean by convertible is, and this is exactly what I did at the age of 55, you can take that term policy and convert it to a permanent whole life policy or a universal life policy that will last you your life. Now, it's going to cost more because you're older now, but you don't have to go through medical underwriting. There's a guaranteed issue at the same underwriting class that you qualified for in your 30s. Or
this
20s,
is a big deal.
Whenever you bought your term policy. So assuming that's preferred or super preferred or whatever they call it, if you're a non-smoker and reasonably healthy, maybe now you're not so healthy. You've got a few more conditions. You got some blood pressure, cholesterol, gained a few pounds, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. You can get the same underwriting class. It's part of the contract that says it's convertible. So what you want to do is you want to convert that policy or at least get
before
a quote.
You get sick. No, I'm kidding.
Before you get
like
sick.
Like we know.
Well, even if you are sick, you can still get it. It's a guaranteed issue at the same underwriting class. But you want to convert that policy before it runs out, and you want to make sure it has the accelerated death benefit rider. I had $1 million term policy on me, and it was going to be up when I was 58. So at the age of 55, I converted it to a universal life policy with an accelerated death benefit rider for $1 million. Now, I can use 2% of that death benefit, which is $20,000 each month for up to 50 months. That would equal 100%. And I can use it for my own care if I need it. Now, that assumes that costs are going to continue to skyrocket. I'm still relatively young, fairly healthy. God knows what the costs are going to be when I'm in my 80s and I need to use this. So if I don't use $20,000 a month, that's okay. I can use up to 2% per month of the death benefit. And whatever I don't use to pay for my own care, my kids will get. And that's an incentive, too, because I hear, you've been in business a long time now, too, Wendy, as have I.
But I'm still 29.
There you go. I have a lot of conversations with people that say, well, I don't want to move out. I don't want to, put a lot of money into something like this. You take your existing policy and convert it, and that's a good way. And people say, I don't want to burden my kids. Have you heard that?
1,000 times.
I don't want to be a burden to my kids. Well, the reality is that a lot of times your kids do end up taking care of you because they want to, and it's a good family dynamic. And the situation, you helped me find some therapists and caregivers for my dad so we could keep him at home and take care of him, why I'm such a big fan of Next Steps for Seniors. But so your kids do end up taking care of you from time to time, whether you want them to or not. At least this way you can feel like you're compensating them to a degree by not spending the money from your insurance policy that you would have had to spend otherwise, and then you're leaving it to them tax-free. So it eases the psychological burden as well.
It's so brilliant. I don't even have words. And I hope, listeners, that you really are listening to this, because if I could tell you how many times I have had conversations with people that say they ran out of money. They ran out of money. I mean, 50% of the calls that come in, they don't have any money. They ran out. So, and there's not a lot of options. Your options narrow. There are options. Don't freak out, but they narrow. If you have the funds, you have many more options. And when you are in your later years, you want to live with dignity and grace, and you want to do the things that you want to do and be where you want to be. And that's why this program that you're talking about, to me, is priceless and well worth the call. Why not call Brian? Get a free consultation. Is it free?
Of course. It is free. And that's a good point, because I'm licensed to charge by the hour. To sit down and talk and give advice to people. I don't do that because I don't want people to feel like there's a meter running, and I don't want to ask him how the weather is because it's going to cost me another $8 because we'll talk about the weather for 2 minutes. No, it doesn't work that way, because let's face it, Wendy, just like your business, when I first sit down with somebody, I don't know if I'm going to be able to help them or not. Right. You don't know if it's a good fit. You have to get to know. When I do work with a family or a couple or whatever, or an individual, it tends to be for a long period of time. That's just been my experience. And so I'm willing to sit and invest a little bit of time up front, get to know people and what their goals are, and make sure I can really help.
Right. So AIP Financial, and are you only licensed in Michigan, or can you do other states as well?
No, I can do securities in every state. and because that's the way securities licensing works. I'm a fiduciary, a fee-only, a Series 65 licensed investment advisory representative, and Brookstone Capital Management is the RIA firm I work through. Now, insurance is a little bit different. I'm insurance licensed in Michigan and Arizona and North Carolina and South Carolina.
And there you have it.
Because I had clients that moved to those places, so I had to get licensed.
So in case you didn't know, this radio program is actually going global podcast, so you can listen anytime, anywhere. So if you are in another state right now listening to this as a podcast, know that you can contact Brian as well. Hopefully your business blows up, Brian. But I love Brian. I think you can hear his passion in his voice, his desire. He's gone through it with his own parents, with himself. So this is an opportunity to have real life experience and someone who really knows your financial situation and cares about you.
It's a good idea to talk to a financial advisor. Everyone is afraid of long-term care costs. My experience has been that, and you get more calls from people who say, I ran out of money. I don't get a ton of calls from people who say, I don't have any money. I get more calls from people that say, I want to invest or, get some advice or whatever. But if you can set aside something, you may not even know that you can. I guess what I'm getting at is sit down with a financial advisor, because I've had a number of people say, oh, I could never afford this, that, or the other when they needed care. And it turned out they had assets they were sitting on that could have been turned into income. And so that's all we had to do. It didn't even dip into the principal. We said, you're not drawing anything off of this. You haven't claimed Social Security yet. You have this smaller pension. This account that you've never touched can spit off it goes back to what I'm saying. Don't just take the amount you've saved and divide it by your life expectancy.
Right.
You can let your money work for you and earn more, and maybe we can increase your income to $7,000 or $8,000 a month. There are veterans benefits that people don't know about. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of ways to skin the cat that people in my industry and yours know about that the average person doesn't, and that's why it's so important to call you.
Can you tell us about this bridge in the next minute? I know I'm not giving you a lot of time before the end of the program.
Absolutely. Bridge is an indexed annuity that was developed by Equitrust Life, and I've placed a number of these. It's just an annuity. You put money in, and it grows based on, you get interest based on the performance of the market, and it has a return of premium feature too. But it also has a long-term care component to it that you can get, I think it's up to 12 times what you put in. And I'd have to have the illustrations. And it's very simple to qualify for. You have to know who the president is. You have to know what day of the week it is. You have to be able to stand up and sit down 5 times. And when you apply, we do this right in my office. It's a little video consultation, 20 minutes, and then you get a decision. And it's a way to take a smaller amount of money and leverage it for pennies on the dollar to lots and lots of money for long-term care costs should they ever arise.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for what you do every day at AIP Financial. Thank you for your radio program for 25 years, sharing this knowledge, this information with listeners across the state. I'm very grateful for you, and thank you for being with us here today.
I appreciate you having me on. Now I can say I did it for 25.1.
There you go. God bless you. Have a blessed day.